Right now, look at your hands. Just for a second, look at the base of your fingers, the skin around your wedding ring, the back of your knuckles. If your rings feel tighter at night than they did this morning, if you wake up with hands that feel like stiff gloves you can't quite close, if you press your thumb into the back of your hand and a little dent stays there for 10, 20, 30 seconds before it smooths out, I need you to keep watching, because what you're looking at is not an arthritis problem, it's not a salt problem. And despite what almost every adult over 50 has been told, in 70% of cases, it is not a heart problem either. It's a drainage problem. And the organ responsible is one nobody ever bothered to explain to you. The fluid is already in your hand right now. A few teaspoons, maybe more, pooled quietly in the soft tissue between your knuckles while you sat at the table, scrolled your phone, drove your car. And tonight, when you lie down, that fluid is going to do something to your body that ruins your sleep, stresses your heart, and quietly accelerates every health problem you're already trying to manage. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly what's happening inside that hand, the 2 30-second self-tests you can do at the kitchen counter, and the 5-minute bedtime habit that drains your hands before sleep. And the part most people skip is the part that matters most. You know the moment I'm talking about. You sit down after dinner. You glance at your hands resting on your lap. The knuckles look thicker than they did this morning. The skin on the back of your hand looks a little tight, a little shiny. You try to slip off your ring and it catches at the joint. You make a fist and your fingers feel stuffed, like sausages in a casing. You press your thumb into the soft pad above your wrist and watch a little white crater take its sweet time filling back in. And when you mention this at a doctor's visit, what happens? You get asked about your heart, you get told to cut salt, you get handed a prescription for a diuretic, a water pill that sends you running to the bathroom all day. For some people, that helps a little. For most adults over 50, it does almost nothing, because the fluid was never sitting in your bloodstream in the first place. It's sitting in the tissues between your cells, and a diuretic can't reach the tissues, it can only pull water out of blood. So you've been treating the wrong compartment. Let me fix that. Your body has 2 drainage networks, not 1. Most people only know about the first, blood, arteries carrying fresh blood out, veins carrying used blood back. That system has a pump, your heart. It runs automatically, every second of your life, whether you help it or not. The second network is called the lymphatic system, and here's what nobody sat you down and explained. It has no pump, none, zero. Lymph is a clear, pale yellow fluid that constantly leaks out of the tiny blood vessels in your tissues. It bathes your cells, picks up cellular waste, dead bacteria, excess protein, and excess water. Then it has to be returned to the bloodstream through a completely separate set of vessels, about 2 liters of it every single day. But those lymph vessels have no heart attached. They move only when you move. Think of your lymph system as a conveyor belt that only runs when you put weight on it. Every hand squeeze, every arm swing, every shoulder roll presses the lymph vessels and pushes the fluid upward toward your collarbone, where it finally drains back into your bloodstream. Stop moving. The belt stops. Sit at a desk for 3 hours, and that belt isn't moving in your hands at all. The fluid just sits there, doing nothing. Now, when you're 30 years old, this isn't a serious problem. The lymph vessels are elastic, the valves inside them are tight and crisp, and a single round of dishes restarts the whole system. But after 50, 3 things change at once. The lymph vessels stiffen, the tiny valves inside them start to leak, and the soft tissue around your knuckles and wrist loses some of its elasticity. So fluid seeps out faster, and the system drains it slower. The math stops working, the reservoir grows, and here's where it gets interesting. The part most people don't realize. Before I go any further, I have to draw a clear line. There are situations where puffy hands are not a lymph problem and need a doctor today, not a home routine. If one hand suddenly swells dramatically more than the other within a few hours, and it's painful, warm, and red, that can indicate a clot or an infection. Get seen today? If your hands swell along with your face, you have trouble breathing, or your tongue feels thick, that's an allergic reaction and it's an emergency. If puffy hands come with sudden weight gain of 4 or 5 pounds in a week and foamy urine, that combination suggests the kidneys are letting protein escape and you need blood work this week, not next month. And if puffy hands come with shortness of breath when you lie flat, waking up gasping or chest tightness, that's heart strain. And it's not a home protocol either. If none of those describe you, if your puffiness is gradual on both hands, worse by evening, better by morning, then what I'm about to walk you through is for you. Stay with me, because what comes next changes how you think about this entirely. Let me tell you about a woman I'll call Margaret. 64 years old, retired bookkeeper, Walked into a clinic, convinced something was seriously wrong with her heart. For 2 years, her hands had been thickening by evening. At first just a little, then enough that she had to stop wearing her wedding ring at night because she was afraid she'd have to cut it off. She mentioned it at a checkup, heart workup, normal kidney panel, normal. She was given a diuretic, she took it for 6 months, bathroom every hour. Hands barely changed, she was exhausted, dehydrated, and still puffy. Then she said one sentence that unlocked the whole picture. "It's strange when I'm in the garden all afternoon pulling weeds, my hands actually feel better." That was the clue. Her puffiness was better with movement, worse with sitting. Heart fine, kidneys fine. What Margaret had was a lymphatic drainage problem that no pill could fix because the fluid wasn't in her bloodstream. It was in her tissues. Here's what happens to Margaret's body every single day, and probably yours. She wakes up, hands look almost normal. She's been lying flat for 8 hours. Gravity wasn't pulling fluid into her fingers, and her lymph system had all night to mostly clear yesterday's reservoir. She gets up, makes coffee, sits at the table, sits in the car, sits at her volunteer desk, eats lunch, sits some more. By 2 in the afternoon, she's been mostly still for 7 hours. Fluid has been slowly leaking from her capillaries into the soft tissue of her fingers and the back of her hands the entire time. The conveyor belt has barely moved. By evening, her ring is tight. By 10 o'clock, she lies down. And now the real problem begins. All that accumulated fluid, now that gravity isn't holding it in her hands, slowly reabsorbs into her bloodstream. Her heart receives an unexpected flood. Her kidneys detect the extra volume and shift into overdrive, making urine. She wakes up at 2 in the morning, at 4, at 5 by 6, she's exhausted. The cycle starts over. Now, 2 tests, right now. 30 seconds total. Test 1, the press test. Find the soft area on the back of your hand, between the knuckles of your middle and ring finger. Press your thumb in firmly and hold for 15 seconds. Lift your thumb and look. If there's a visible indentation that takes 10 seconds or more to smooth out, you have what clinicians call pitting puffiness. A slight dent is mild. A deeper, longer-lasting dent is more advanced. Make a mental note, you'll retest in 2 weeks, and the change is measurable. Test 2. The skin pinch. Try to pinch the skin on the back of your hand, just below the middle knuckle between your thumb and forefinger. If you can lift it easily into a soft fold, your lymph is moving. If it feels fused to the tissue beneath, that points strongly at chronic lymph congestion. It's one of the simplest indicators of this problem that exists. 3 things make this kind of puffiness worse, and most adults over 50 do all 3 daily without realizing. The first is hidden sodium, not the salt shaker. The hidden stuff: cheese, cured meats, canned soup, bread, condiments, restaurant food, frozen meals. Sodium pulls water out of your bloodstream and into your tissues. Your body holds about 4 cups of water for every gram of excess sodium. The second is sitting through the evening. Those hours between 7 and 10 at night, when you finally relax in the recliner, are exactly when the tissues pull the most fluid. 3 hours of stillness after your largest meal of the day creates the worst possible setup for overnight reabsorption. The third is alcohol. A single glass of wine in the evening widens your capillaries, increases the leak rate from vessels into tissue, and quietly suppresses the hormone your brain uses to tell your kidneys to slow down at night. 1 drink, and your morning will be noticeably puffier. Now the other direction. Things that support lymph flow: water. This is counterintuitive. Most people with puffiness drink less, thinking more water means more swelling. The opposite is true. Dehydration thickens lymph and makes it sluggish. A well-hydrated body has thin, free-flowing lymph. Aim for roughly half your body weight in ounces, spread through the day, tapering after 5 in the afternoon. Foods rich in natural flavonoids, dark berries, citrus, red cabbage, strengthen the walls of small blood vessels and reduce leak. A cup of berries a day has measurable effects over about 8 weeks. Protein, this one surprises people. Low blood albumin, a protein that holds water inside your blood vessels, is one of the silent drivers of tissue puffiness in older adults. When albumin is low, water leaks out into tissues and just sits there. 2 servings of high-quality protein a day, eggs, fish, chicken, lentils, cottage cheese, directly improve the physics of fluid balance. And magnesium, which most people over 50 are mildly low in, supports the smooth muscle tone of the lymph vessels themselves. Pumpkin seeds, dark leafy greens, almonds. Here's the 5-minute habit that drains your hands before bed. Pay close attention, because the order matters. In the morning before your feet hit the floor, while you're still in bed, make slow fists 30 times. Squeeze tight, open wide, fingers spread, 45 seconds. This restarts lymph flow after 8 hours of stillness. Through the day, every hour you've been sitting, raise your arms overhead and open and close your hands 20 times. 30 seconds. The conveyor belt keeps moving. Before dinner, 5 minutes of light movement, even just walking around the house while gently swinging your arms. Then 90 minutes before bed. This is the critical piece. Sit comfortably or lie down. Raise both arms straight up over your head, hands toward the ceiling, and hold them there. Open and close your fists slowly, 20 times. Then make slow circles with your wrists, 10 in each direction. Now lower your arms and place both hands flat on your belly and breathe deeply through your nose for 3 full minutes, belly rising on the inhale, falling on the exhale. Slow, deep belly breathing activates the thoracic duct, the main drainage vessel of your entire lymph system, sitting right behind your diaphragm. Every deep breath is literally pumping your lymph back into your bloodstream. Then do something simple but powerful. Starting at the back of one hand, use the flat of your other hand's fingers to stroke gently from your knuckles up your forearm toward your elbow. Then from your elbow up the inside of your upper arm toward your armpit. Slow, light, always toward the armpit, never the other direction. 10 strokes on each arm. This is a simplified version of manual lymphatic drainage, and it physically moves fluid from the tissues into the lymph capillaries. Right after, you'll feel the need to urinate. You'll release a few 100 milliliters of pale fluid. That's the fluid that otherwise would have woken you at 2 in the morning. You just drained it while you were awake and in control. Margaret did this for 3 weeks. By the end of week 1, her ring slid off easily at night. By week 2, she was sleeping through. By week 3, her hands at 9 in the evening looked like her hands at 9 in the morning. Her heart workup hadn't changed. Her prescriptions hadn't changed. What changed was that her lymph system was finally getting its work shift at a time that suited her life, instead of scrambling all night while she tried to sleep. This is the kind of small change that, in a few weeks, you actually None of this is medical advice. If you're on prescription medication, if you have a diagnosed heart, kidney, or thyroid condition, talk to your doctor before changing anything. And if any of those red flags I mentioned earlier describe you, please don't wait. Get checked. If this changed how you think about puffy hands and broken sleep, subscribe. Every week I take one health topic adults over 50 actually deal with, walk through the real research in plain English, and explain the part most channels skip. Your hands aren't betraying you. They're a drainage system that stopped getting the signals it needed. Give it 5 minutes a day and the difference isn't subtle. It's the kind of change you see in the mirror, feel when your ring slides on, and notice the first morning you wake up without pressing your thumb into your skin to check.